welcome back to another weekend preview right here on the Football Zone, where we've got a packed weekend of action, starting off on Friday with Wolves versus Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace have actually started off the season pretty well, to be fair. 10 points from 6 games, exactly the same as Wolves. Crystal Palace just have a one better goal difference. But I do think, especially with the game being at Molineux, Wolves will probably have a bit too much of Palace, so I'm going to say a 2-0 home victory. Bramall Lane, Sheffield United host Manchester City on Saturday lunchtime. This is a really interesting one. Man City obviously haven't had the ideal start, sitting in 13th, but with a game in hand. Sheffield United not brilliant either, 19th with 1 point from 6 games. This is an interesting one. I do think Man City will win, but I only think it will be by 1 goal. Sheffield United, yes, they're losing, but they're not getting hammered, so I do think they'll keep a close game here. At Turf Moor, Burnley host Chelsea. Burnley, they've got off to a really poor start, 18th, 1 point from 5 games. Chelsea in 10th, 9th and 6th. Not the ideal start, but it was always going to take time to bed in the likes of Kai Havertz, Timo Werner, and all of that lot. But I do think they will still have far too much for Burnley here, and I think it will be a pretty comfortable 2-0 win. Or host West Ham at tea time on Saturday. And this is a really strange game. Liverpool, they're a lot more inconsistent this season, it seems, than they were last season. And West Ham, one day they're prime Barcelona, the next they're just utter rubbish. And I think today might be one of those days where they're just not on it. I can see Liverpool picking up a pretty comfortable 3-0 victory. On Sunday, Southampton travel to Aston Villa. This is a really interesting one. Southampton are in really good space after beating Everton, up to 7th in the league now, which is really good for them. Villa in 3rd. It'll be interesting to see how they react to that really disappointed Leeds game a week or so back. But I do think they will just have slightly too much for Southampton. But I'm expecting it to be a really solid game, actually. I'm going to say 1-0 to Aston Villa. Next up at St James's Park, it's Newcastle versus Everton. Everton, despite that loss against Southampton, still at the top of the table on goal difference. Newcastle in 14th. I don't think they'll be disappointed with their start, but I do think Everton will have slightly too much for them. I think it'll be a really close game, but I'm going to say a 2-1 victory for the Toffees. Manchester United host Arsenal on 4:30 on Sunday, and once again this is an interesting one. Arsenal lost their last 2. Man United's home form has been shocking this year, well, at least in the league. Let's not count the Champions League in that. But I do think they will pick up a win here. Mikel Arteta's side just go through a bit of a rocky period at the moment, and I do think United will capitalise that now they're finding a wee bit of form. So I'm going to say my prediction is Manchester United 2, Arsenal 0. Tottenham host Brighton on Sunday evening, and Tottenham, once again, they're just so inconsistent. They'll draw at home to West Ham, they'll draw to Antwerp or wherever they are, and then they'll go and beat Manchester United 6-1. If they can find form, then they're definitely a force to be reckoned with. Season Brighton, iffy start. They're playing some nice stuff, but they're down in 16th. And to be honest, I just don't think they'll pick up a result here. I think it'll be a pretty comfortable 3-0 victory for Spurs. Craven Cottage, Fulham host West Bromwich Albion, and this game really is, just don't think there's going to be a lot of quality in it. No team will want to lose. It will be very defensive, pretty boring, I would say, and I think it will result in a 1-1 draw. Leeds host Leicester at 8 p.m. on Monday, and this should be a really entertaining game. Leeds on a high following that Villa victory. Leicester starting well in 4th. This should be a really entertaining game. I think both teams will go for it, and to be honest, I don't think there'll be anything to separate the two sides. I'm predicting a very entertaining 1-1 draw. Moving on to the EFL now, at St Andrews, Coventry host league leaders Reading, and I just don't think Coventry will get anything out of this. They've been on a really sticky period recently, losing 2-0 to Middlesbrough, 4-0 to Blackburn, who Reading subsequently beat on Tuesday. And Reading are just on such a high at the moment, I can't see them slipping up here. So I do think it'll be a pretty comfortable 2-0 victory for the away side. Gate on Saturday lunchtime, Bristol City host Norwich. Norwich inconsistent really. Bristol City, what a start. They've just dipped off recently, and I do think they need a win soon just to get back on track. Otherwise I fear they could go sliding down the table quite a way. And I do think they'll get it here. I just got a feeling they're going to do well against an inconsistent Norwich side. So I'm going to say Bristol City 2, Norwich 0. At Oakwell, Barnsley host Watford here. Watford will be really disappointed following their draw at Wickham on Tuesday. Barnsley, great win, and maybe Ishmael can do a job there. I've got doubts, but no reason why he can't after that win. But I do think Watford will have a bit too much of Barnsley here. In fact, I'm going to say quite a comfortable 3-0 win for Watford. Derby travel to Bournemouth on Saturday at 3 p.m. and Bournemouth's second, very good start for them. They're not performing superbly, but they're winning games, which is what matters, and they're not losing. Derby 21st, really not a good start for them, and I think the pressure's going to grow on Philip Cocu even more here because I just can't see them getting a result. I'm going to say a 1-0 win for Bournemouth. Luton host Brentford in a London derby on Saturday, and this is a really interesting one. Brentford, you would say, have a better squad on paper, but you know, Luton always give 100%, never give in. They've had a really good start. Brentford inconsistent. Brentford are on it. I think they get the win easily, but I do think Luton might get a point here. I'm going to say one apiece. Middlesbrough host Nottingham Forest at the Riverside on Saturday. This is an interesting one. Middlesbrough in 8th, really starting to get going now under Neil Warnock. Forest 20th, just not really done what I expected them to do under Chris Hughton, which is slightly surprising. I thought they'd go flying up the table, but not the case as of yet. But I do think they will give Middlesbrough a good game here, but I do think they will have slightly too much quality, which is why I'm going to say a 1-0 Barrel win. Millwall host Huddersfield on Saturday at 3 p.m. at the Den. And Millwall, they've had a really good start to the season actually. Gone under the radar a bit, I would say. 4th with 15 points. And Huddersfield, inconsistent, 16th on 10 points. I do think Millwall will continue their good form here and pick up yet another victory. I'm going to say a 2-0 home win. Then host Birmingham at 3 p.m. at Deepdale. Preston are, funnily enough, the only team in the league not to pick up a point at home this season, which is surprising given how good they were at home last season, but they're very good on their travels. I do think they will pick up a win here against Birmingham, who got their first win since the opening day on Tuesday. I'm going to say a 1-0 Preston victory. PR host Cardiff at Loftus Road at 3 p.m. Cardiff 14th in the league, fairly disappointing start, I'd say to them. They're drawing too many games. They need to start turning those draws into win. So QPR 19th, really disappointing for them, especially considering they got 4 points from the first 2 games. But oh well, hopefully they pick up here. But I just can't see them doing it here. I think Cardiff will pick up a narrow victory and maybe start turning those tight games where they draw into a win. I'm going to say a 1-0 victory for Cardiff. Stoke host Rotherham on Saturday, and this is a tough one to predict. Rotherham got a great victory. Stoke are inconsistent, but still, I do think Stoke will have enough to win this game. I think it'll be 2-0, but I don't think it'll be as comfortable as the scoreline suggests. Swansea host Blackburn at the Liberty, and you know what, I can see this being a really high scoring game. I think what we've learned again about Blackburn so far is that they're brilliant going forward, but I would say they're pretty weak at the back, so I think this will be a really high scoring game again, but I do think Swansea will have slightly too much quality to overcome them, so I'm going to say Swansea 3, Blackburn 2. Finally, Wickham host Sheffield Wednesday at Adams Park. Wickham on a high after getting their first point. Sheffield Wednesday, they've been really dipping in form, losing to rivals Rotherham at 3-0 on Wednesday. But I do think they will bounce back here. I think it'll be narrow. I don't think it'll necessarily be pretty, but I do think they will get a win. I'm going to say Wickham 1, Sheffield Wednesday 2. Anyway guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Remember to follow me on Twitter, link in the description below for daily football news, and subscribe to my other channels on screen right now, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace.